Hey everyone, you're watching KTAL News Now. I'm your host, Anthony Mocklin, and today is Monday. I know, guys, it's the start of a new week, but we can get through this, I promise. It is Monday, so that means we will be recapping the weekend events and talking about them and looking a little bit to the week ahead. This past weekend, I actually celebrated my birthday. It was on Saturday, July 19th, so I had a really great time. Our studio always likes to put a bunch of decorations on our desks for people's birthdays, so I still had a bunch of different balloons on my desk that are just left over from the weekend, so that was a lot of fun. They also came together and signed a card for me from everybody at the studio just wishing me a happy birthday, so that was really sweet and really nice. I mean, I've been here since February, and my time here has been nothing short of amazing. I mean, everybody's been so welcoming and treating me like family, so I'm so glad that I get to do this and what I do every day for you all, and let's just dive into the show. I had our news director brought in some donuts this morning, so I'm feeling pretty good. I had a chocolate one and a regular glazed one. I don't know what you guys' favorites might be, but you know what, let's just get started. We had our interview last week where I actually got interviewed on the show by my boss, the digital director, Marissa Diaz. And they printed out a bunch of these that were pinned to the homepage. Just put those on my desk. Marissa kept shoving my face in the camera because she was hosting it instead of me. So that was really fun. A lot of memeable moments from that. But yeah. But this weekend was also our first topic was that the fact that the Red River Balloon Rally was held on this weekend from July 18th to 19th. That did take place over my birthday, and I was out of town for that. Otherwise, I would have been there. I was really looking forward to that this year, but unfortunately, I'll have to catch them next year. But the Red River Balloon Rally, it was a hot air balloon festival, essentially, that was held at Louisiana Downs. And NBC's Lynn Vance had all of the sights and sounds from that festival.
The balloon rally lifted off this weekend at Louisiana Downs.
We have outstanding attendance each year. So basically the Sports Commission and Visit Shreveport Bossier, everything we do goes back to hoping that we're investing in the community.
For locals, the investment is paying off in fun for families.
This is my kiddos' first time coming, and I really wanted to come and let them do something fun and exciting and get them out of the house this summer instead of sitting in the house like kids do, so we brought them here.
It is a sporting event with the Louisiana State Ballooning Championship being held, but it's also a place for vendors to get their products or work in front of the community, like these face painters who love the kids' reactions.
The smiles on their face when you show them in the mirror.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's the best job in the world.
Absolutely the best job ever.
And on top of vendors, music, food, and balloons, there's also the casino.
There's some casinos here too. And I called them up and asked them and they told me that if I'd come up and show up, they'd let me win.
And as I said before, I unfortunately could not make this event. It looked like a lot of fun. I was celebrating my birthday, which calls for several celebrations. And Tatum High School was also celebrating last week as they received their state championship rings from their first ever state championship in program history for basketball. NBC's Kylie Corman was there and interviewed the coach as well as the players to talk about what that experience meant for not only them, but for the surrounding area of Tatum as well.
The 2025 basketball state championship team received some shiny hardware. Tons of supporters from the Tatum community showed up to the Eagles ring ceremony. Former head coach Brett Carr has led the team to 5 state championships, and this season they finally got it done. A storybook ending as his time in Tatum ends after 23 years. Former assistant coach Jamie Bradley will be stepping in his place. Both former and current head coaches are proud of what this team was able to accomplish for the school and the Tatum community.
The greatest level of achievement when you're a coach is to be able to win a championship with the program that you've worked to be a part of and to develop. And I mean, to go out on top like that, I mean, it's incredibly special. I really don't have the words to describe it except for blessing.
That's huge, man, to win a state championship. Like I said, we won some, a couple in football, but to win one in basketball, that says a lot about Tatum. The pride and community. They're all behind us. We have great community support. They all behind us 100%, man. I just love this town. I'm from here, and it's just a good feeling, man. It's a great day to be an Eagle, man.
Being here all tonight, all friends and family and everything, it feels like we brought the whole town together, and especially me and the guys we're connected for life now with the accomplishment we just had. So it was a great experience, and I'm gonna remember it for the rest of my life.
It was great to see their achievements be so supported by the community of Tatum and rally around them. Like I said, it was their first ever basketball state championship. Can't imagine what that means to those students as well as the coach, who is riding off into the sunset with a title under his belt, which is really awesome to see. In other news, a local student from Louisiana Tech was honored for other reasons by Governor Jeff Landry, she was honored for her efforts in saving around 14 confirmed people that were affected due to the Texas flooding, specifically in Camp Mystic, where 27 campers and counselors unfortunately passed away. The student was honored for her bravery during those floods and rescuing those people. And Dan and Jackie Jovic have more about her accomplishments.
The ceremony was held this morning at the Governor's Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness.
Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry recognized 21-year-old Emma Foltz. She has been a counselor at Camp Mystic for 3 years and is credited with bringing 14 girls to safety. Foltz says her cabin was on higher ground than others near the river. She says her co-counselor's main focus was to keep the girls entertained and not let them know the extent of the danger.
We saw a lot of helicopters, so we were just like, oh, they're just here for the news because there's a big flood. They're just, kind of reminding them, like, if your parents watch the news, they'll be, like, circling the area where it flooded, just being like, there was just a big flood in Hunt, Texas, and they're just covering that media, not letting them know what was happening at the other camp. And then we evacuated and made sure all of our girls were safe.
She was able to, and those around her, to keep the people who they were responsible for from worrying, okay? Because the biggest danger we all face is when we panic. And what we do in this building is try to make sure that those on the ground have the assets necessary so that we keep our people from panicking, so that they are prepared. We consistently remind people all the time that the more prepared you are, the safer you will be.
Now, in addition to the special commendation from the governor, Foltz received the highest civilian award in the state of Louisiana, the Distinguished Civilian Service Medal.
And here at KTAL, our thoughts and prayers are with those who have lost loved ones in the flooding. I can't imagine the pain and suffering that people have gone through, just losing their children, their loved ones, their siblings, just anything regarding that. We can't stress enough how sorry we feel for the families, and we empathize with them and hope that they can recover from this and just cherish the people that they have in their lives. I can't imagine being a mother of one of the campers who unfortunately lost their lives. And if you are a mother, you obviously want to keep your kids close to you at all times. You never want anything to happen to them. And unfortunately, there was an incident around July 4th weekend where a mother in Shreveport was accused of child neglect after an incident that occurred over that weekend. She recently had those charges dropped, and her name was cleared from all wrongdoing, but she is unfortunately still feeling the effects of those accusations. NBC's Grace Jensen has more about her story and her recovery in dealing with these accusations and the fallout from them.
A simple disagreement in need of external mediation turned into a nightmare for mother of three Callie Stevenson. On July 5th, after a night of Independence Day celebration with family and friends, Stevenson called the Shreveport Police Department to help mediate a verbal altercation over possession of a PlayStation 5 that was primarily used by her children.
It just kind of got to the point where I was like, we should not let this go any further. We need to get somebody to intervene so we can get things to end amicably.
SPD officers questioned Stevenson about her children and asked if they could enter the residence at the Village Square Apartments, a complex that received backlash earlier this year due to unpaid water bills and lack of maintenance. Stevenson allowed officers into her home, and they claimed that the apartment was deemed unfit for the children. Department of Children and Family Services was contacted, and she was arrested for child neglect.
I just remember being in the back of the car about to lose my mind. I just was hurt because how could you say that about my children?
After records of multiple maintenance requests for pest control made by Stevenson were provided, the charges were rejected by the Caddo Parish District Attorney's Office. Despite the heartbreak that she is still facing until she can see her children again, Stevenson does not hold any negative sentiment towards the officers or DCFS.
And I appreciate them admitting that they were wrong, and I forgive them wholeheartedly. But I am human, like I said, so I do have to go through the process of healing, dealing with this, so I will be okay, but everyone I do forgive in this situation.
There has been an outpour of support from the community for Callie Stevenson and her family. Grace Jensen, NBC6 News.
And it's really sad to hear just the effects that she is going through. As of the time that that story was published, she still had not been reunited with her children, so we hope that she is eventually able to see them again and live with them and raise them like she would normally. But on a lighter note, because I know I didn't want to, close the show on such a sad topic, but this past weekend was also Anime Fest, and that was held at the Hilton Garden Inn this past weekend. They had a great turnout that featured a bunch of different cosplayers and merchandise tables from local artists from across the area. And NBC's Grace Jensen also has more about that.
Has made a comeback. The day-long event was held at the Hilton Garden Inn on Old Minden Road, and Artist Alley was filled with many different vendors, offering goods like custom art, stickers, crocheted goods, and much more.
It's been a very good turnout. We've had a lot of kids coming through that are dressed up in cosplay, and we've had a lot of great vendors and a lot of great help from the hotel staff. They've been wonderful.
One vendor notes that this was her first year at Anime Fest, but she hopes to return in the years to come.
We just put everything out, we've worked the crowd, everyone's been really, really nice, and we hope that they want us back next year.
Along with Artist Alley, there were special appearances from popular voice actors from shows like Dragon Ball Z and Ed, Edd and Eddy. There were also Q&A panels with other special guests. And the end of the convention went out with a bang, with a much-anticipated cosplay competition. If you want to attend an event like Anime Fest, but you are not a big fan of cosplay, Hess notes that you will still be welcomed with open arms.
If you don't want to dress up in cosplay, no problem. Nobody will look down on you, and nobody will look at you with any kind of animosity that you're doing it or you're not doing it.
He also mentions that they hope to hold the next Anime Fest within the next 6 months.
That was really awesome to see. I personally love festivals like that, or different gatherings regarding Comic-Cons or animes. I know that there was Fan Expo that's held every year at the New Orleans Convention Center, and I've been to that a few times. They usually have a ton of famous voice actors or actors in live-action television series or movies that are there to take pictures with, sign autographs. So it's really awesome to have something at a smaller scale in Shreveport around our area, because it can be a ton of fun, especially if you love cosplaying and dressing up as your favorite characters. People that do cosplay take it extremely seriously. They get all their materials at a science, whether it's 3D printed props or costumes that they thrift and kind of make their own. It's really awesome to see that creativity on full display at an event like Anime Fest. And if you are a fan of anime, I would love to hear your favorite shows. I'm sure if you are a fan, you'll be in attendance if they do have another Anime Fest 6 months from now. I will definitely try to make it there. I'm personally a huge anime fan myself. My personal favorite anime is a show called Attack on Titan. I can't sing enough praises about that show. I think it's genuinely the best piece of fiction that I've ever seen. I know it's a huge claim, very hot take, but I think it is on another level in terms of writing, world building, and characters, and just the story that it tells in the show throughout the whole thing, and the foreshadowing, because some of the twists that end up happening in that show will just absolutely blow your mind. So I can't recommend that enough. And if you do love anime or just looking for other shows or movies to watch, be sure to check out our weekend watch list segment by our digital team member Dominique Woods. He does those pretty frequently, about once a week, to give people an idea of like what to look out for on streaming services that you might want to watch that week. His most recent one was the Netflix original movie K-pop Demon Hunters, which debuted to world acclaim from critics and audiences. It's getting a lot of buzz right now. It came out last month, around June 20th, I believe, and that has been really hot, especially on social media, so be sure to check that out and his story about that. He does those fairly weekly or frequently. He did one on Ryan Coogler's Sinners movie, which was also a huge hit with audiences and critics. So be sure to check out his thing. You can see him on KTALnews.com at Dominique Woods. And you can also check out KTAL News Now, as well as our previous episodes on our YouTube page, as well as our website. All of our segments this week will be available in this article that will be pinned to the homepage every weekday at 1 p.m. That's when we'll be live streaming KTAL News Now. Be sure to stick with us this week for another exciting edition of Tech Tuesday tomorrow, as well as a Facebook live stream Q&A on our Facebook at KTAL News that you can catch tomorrow at 3 p.m. on our Facebook page, where I'll be answering any questions that you have and just talking about whatever comes to mind or that you have an idea for me, or if you have any other story that you want me to cover throughout my shows this week, be sure to reach out to me at amocklin@ktalnews.com. Like I said, you can catch us on KTAL News Now every weekday at 1 p.m. But for now, I'm Anthony Mocklin, and thank you for joining us.